Hey everyone, I'm Joseph, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to use OBS Studio and pipe that directly into your Zoom camera feed. Okay, and we're going to use this as an example to run a timer and do some color changes so that we can moderate a speech or a debate. Okay, so I have a timer already with the alarm clock program set to 3 minutes, so I could play this timer, pause it, and reset it. Right? This alarms and clock, this is a program that comes with Windows built in, right? You don't have to get anything special. If you're not a Windows user, I don't know if it comes in other operating systems. I haven't looked. So we have that, and we have OBS Studio. That's OBS. You can download this for free. It's an open source software, and a lot of streamers and YouTubers use this to create their video, to record their screens. I'm using it right now. I'm actually recording itself in the video. Pretty cool. And then I have a Zoom meeting open up right here in the upper right. I don't have the video on yet. Okay. So the first thing that I'm going to do is make sure that I have everything installed. Okay, so I have OBS Studio, it's installed. As soon as you turn it on, it already begins running. It doesn't begin recording or anything like that, but it begins showing you the screen. And so the thing that you'll want to do when you first turn it on, you're not going to see the two screens left and right like I do. You're going to see only one. And you want to click on studio mode. Okay, when studio mode is off, this is what you see. And when studio mode is on, then you'll see the two things. And what's nice about studio mode being on is the right side is what's currently being recorded or broadcasted. The left side gives you some options to move things around. Okay, so I have built a scene with the scenes and sources over here, and we'll go over that in a minute. But I have a scene on the left-hand side, and I could move things around. So I could click on, I have myself right here, and I could move me to the other side. And then I could click the transition button, and I will transition on this side over here. Okay. So hopefully you can see, I know it's a little small over there. Hopefully you can see these changes that I'm making. But, and I'll put myself back over there. And you have a couple of different transitions to choose from, and you can program those. Okay, so that's fun. But that's why we're going to use studio mode, because what we want to do for our moderation is I have a few different backgrounds. Okay, I have red, yellow, green, and then black. And then oftentimes I use this books background. That's what you see. And I have it as the border around everything over here. So in my scene, this is actually my desktop inside this red square. And on the outside of the red square around that, that is actually some background images that I use. So I use the books, and we'll be using the red, yellow, and green, and black. Okay. And let's see if I actually click one of these on and do a transition, you'll see. And then, oh, why did the transition go immediately there? Oh, because they're all in a folder, that's why. All right. I should have walked through this once already, but that's okay. All right. That means we're going to want to put the black up here on top. So, let me turn my books back on. Nice. So when you install OBS, on the left-hand side, you should have one scene created for you automatically. If you don't, you can hit the plus and name your scene. Okay, name it whatever you want. And then in the middle part right here, or the next part over, these are your sources. So your source could be your desktop. Your source could be a screen on your desktop. Your source could be your camera, or your source could be an image. In my case, I'm going to use the green, yellow, and red images, and I'm also using the bookshelf image as well. So now I've clicked on this other scene, and I have this whole black screen because this is an empty scene. So you could transition between scenes. Okay, you could do that. You can fade between scenes manually. Okay. So you can make entire scenes, or you can just manipulate one scene. That choice is yours. Okay, so you could have a scene that's like a splash screen. That's pretty common, and you can just switch to the splash screen. I'm going to do everything in one scene just to keep things simple for this video. So you build your scene. I have a webcam folder. I only have the camera in there, but you can organize these with folders, right? So once you have a few things, you can click on them and then right click, and you'll have an option to these are already in a folder. I don't know if I can have folders inside of folders. I'll add group. Nope, that wasn't it. Okay, so let's skip the folders for now because they're causing me trouble anyway. If you want to add a new source, click on the plus, okay, and you're going to want to add display capture, okay, and I have one in here already, so I'm not going to add it. I'm just going to double click on my display capture. So I have display capture, and you're going to pick which display. So I have 3 monitors. I'm going to pick monitor 1. You choose whether or not you want to capture the cursor. I want to capture the cursor because I tend to point to things with a cursor and talk about it. So I definitely want to do that today. Okay, so display capture. Something that you may run into trouble with if you're a laptop user like I am is when you have OBS and you're trying to capture your display, what happens is OBS by default is probably going to be running on your graphics card, your graphics chip, right, your GPU. But your desktop is actually going to be running on your integrated graphics on your CPU. And because those two things are running on different hardware, one will not be able to see the other. If that is the case, if you're a laptop user like I am, you're going to want to go to your display properties in your settings. Okay, so go to settings and system, displays, the first option here. And you're going to want to scroll down to graphics settings and browse for OBS Studio and tell OBS Studio to be in power saving mode. That's going to force it to run on the integrated graphics in your CPU, and that's going to allow it to capture your screen, your desktop. Okay, if it runs on your GPU, your desktop is on your CPU and it won't be able to see it. So if you're a laptop user, you might need to use this. You can go through your graphics card settings. Unfortunately, for me, that didn't work at all. This is the only way that I was able to do that. So we have our display capture, we have our camera. I have a couple different cameras because I have a dedicated webcam as well as the built-in one to my laptop. So if I were to choose that, I have that, or OBS virtual camera. That's what we're going to use in Zoom. We're not going to use that right now. Okay. And then these backgrounds, These are simply, I have made just a red square image and a yellow and a green, and you just choose the file and it will use that image in a screen. So once you put all these things here, you can move them around however you like in the preview panel on the left hand side. So you click on one, okay? And so this is my desktop. I can shrink it. I don't know, I can expand it, okay? And move it around however you want. It does snap, which I'm not a fan of in this small screen right now because it's bothering me. I wasn't able to get it right where I wanted it, right? And then my background images are over here, right? You can click on individually each one. By default, many of these things will be full screen size, and fortunately for us, that's how we want them to be. So that's fine. And then you just have to layer them appropriately. You put the top things, the things you want to be up front, the bottom things, the things you want to be towards the background, and organize them however you would like, however you need them. And then these little eyeball icons, you click these and it turns them on and off. Okay, so we'll leave that green on. For some reason this black one is not working. Probably, I'm not sure why, but that's all right. You know what? We'll just subtract that black one. It's not working for me right now. It might be because I added it. I don't know. I added it differently. In any case, that one wasn't working. We don't need it. Right? So we have all this set up. I'm in studio mode. You can start recording whenever you want to start recording. And now OBS is officially set up. I'm going to remove this extra scene. Just have the one I want to be concerned with. If you're working with audio and you have a separate microphone in the middle of the audio, you can turn these however you would like. So I have audio built into my camera and I've disabled that. That's why you don't see any colors moving on here. The desktop audio, this is going to pick up the audio from your computer. You may or may not want that enabled. Depends on what you're going to be recording or broadcasting. Okay. You don't see anything right now. That's because my computer is not playing any sounds. And then this bottom one that you do see going crazy, this is my built-in microphone. I actually have a lavalier microphone plugged into it, but this is my microphone. Okay, and you can change the volume. You can mute these things just by clicking here. So if I did not want to pick up, say, my camera's audio at all, or my desktop audio at all, I could just mute those. Or if for some reason I wanted to mute myself because you're tired of hearing my voice, see? You don't know what sort of awful things I just said. So that's the audio. These are all the visual parts. Now let's move on to Zoom. All right. So in Zoom, when it detects that OBS Studio is installed, on our video here, we click the little up arrow and we can choose our video. So like I said, I have two cameras. I have a dedicated web camera and I have the built-in webcam for my laptop. So I have two cameras, but then you'll see OBS virtual camera. If you select that, that is going to pipe the program side, the right-hand video right here, directly into your image on Zoom. So I actually have to start video, right? And by default, you're just going to get this OBS icon, and it's going to say there's nothing there. And then we can go back to OBS, click the Start Virtual Camera, and then there we go. Now in my Zoom screen, I am sharing this video. Now for me, it's showing backwards, and that's because in my Zoom video settings, I have told it to mirror my video. That's on my side. It doesn't mirror it on everyone else's side. So if that's annoying to you, you can just flip it, and then you'll see the whole thing right here. Okay, so now what's being built from OBS over here is piping directly into my camera feed on Zoom. And so if I enlarge this, full screen this, now this looks terrible. Let me undo that. Wow, was that terrible? All right, we don't want to do that because we don't want to share the screen that we're currently, I don't want to host the screen on the screen that I'm sharing. Then I get that infinite mirror, okay? So if you don't want to do that, I probably can have the infinite mirror here as well. You just can't see it quite as well. So what you want to do is, I can minimize the zoom, okay? If you only have one screen, some options are you can minimize zoom, or instead of doing a display capture in OBS, you hit this plus and you can do a window capture, and you can label it window capture if you'd like. Press OK, and now my window capture, I can choose a program. All right, now I have, my Dragon Gaming Center. This is for my graphics card. It's running on my graphics card, so I can't see that one. But I can see the Zoom meeting. All right, so if I had a Chrome tab open or something, I could share that, which I don't want to share my Chrome with you right now. But you can share an individual window with the window capture. And then that window will be what's shared through OBS into Zoom. And it doesn't matter if that window is on top of things or not. For example, let me do this again, and I'll do a window capture. And I'll leave it as Zoom. Okay, so we have Zoom right here, and it's going into Zoom right there. And let me minimize Zoom. Right, it's still there. It's still here. This is still Zoom. I can change its side, transition it. Right, still have Zoom being captured. Okay, but it's not in the foreground. And let's test this out with Zoom is probably not the best one to choose, right? I can't choose the clock for some reason. All right, for some reason it's not letting me choose the clock. If you're a desktop user, you may have better luck. Everything is running on different graphics chips. For me, it's considerably a nightmare on occasion. I can't see all the apps that are running, but I can share my screen. Right, so I do actually have multiple screens. So I'm going to move Zoom off of screen so that we don't see that horribleness, right? And then I'm going to move OBS off of screen. Well, actually, I'm going to leave everything on screen because you need to see it, okay? So I'm going to do a moderation now. Okay. Put this right here. Pay attention to, well, everything, right? All right, so if I turn the red, yellow, and green all off, what's left is just a black background, okay? So I don't need a black image, right? So if I'm moderating somebody's speech or a debate and they have 3 minutes to speak, when their time begins, okay, a little bit difficult that I have to click two things at once, but I can click the green and the play button. All right, for some reason mine is happening very quickly and my transition is not, maybe because I clicked a button, right? But you can watch the timer, and then as the timer goes, all right, my I need to order my things properly. There we go. Now I can get my transition. So as the timer goes, I had to reorder my things. So maybe don't use a folder. All right, so I have my yellow, and then I can put my red on and get that ready. All right. And let's pretend that the timer was coming up on like the last 15 or 20 seconds, whatever you determine is the thing. Okay. So then I'll do my transition, and it will change to red. And then I can turn all of these off or use a third background or a fourth background, in my case, books, when it's finished. So when their time is completely up, I can transition that, pause, and reset the timer. Okay? And you can do this in whatever order you would like. Okay? And so now I can set up my green, right? And I'll getting ready for the next speaker, and I'll press you can either start the timer and then transition, or transition and start the timer, whichever is easier for you. I'm going to start the transition and then the timer. That way, as the person takes about 1 second or so to get started, I'm also taking about a second to click the button, and it'll be the right time. So the timer will go, and then as their speech progresses, I will just switch to the next color. When it gets to the right time, I'll wait until it's 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and I'll transition. Okay. And then I'll get the next color ready, and I'll wait until the right time, 2 minutes and 20 seconds, and I'll do the red. Okay, and then I'll wait until 2 minutes and 10 seconds, and I'll transition off of red. And then I'll pause and reset the timer. Okay. So that's pretty much it. If you can get your window capture to properly capture just the alarm clock app, which mine does not at the moment. I may have to play with my video card settings. But if you can get yours to do that, and just capture the alarm clock, and you can put that front and center. You don't have to put your own picture there, and you can just put the 4 images. I like to do the 4 images, and then you can go in the proper colors, and you can turn the 2 middle ones off, and then you can just transition to green, and then yellow, and then red, and then whatever your image is at the end. Right, so hopefully this explains all of your questions. If not, you can send me a message. You can comment on the video, what have you, and I will try to get that set up for you. And as soon as you're finished, you can stop recording, turn the virtual camera off, go into Zoom. You can stop your video. And that's it. All right. Thanks for watching.